Section 5.1, Basic Budgeting. So goals here, understand the basic principles of a budget, and then know how to compute a certain percentage of income. And overall, what we're doing here is we're starting Chapter 5 now, as you can see, 5.1. But as we start Chapter 5, we're going to start looking at the financial literacy aspect of this class. And for the most part, we're basically moving entirely away of everything we've seen before. The only thing that really will carry over into this chapter will be the idea of linear growth and exponential growth. We'll see that with simple interest and compound interest. But in terms of actually, using the data collection aspect, using probability, we're not going to do that in Chapter 5. And that's not to say that in the financial world, people don't collect data and, use it to make probabilities so they can predict future outcomes. That certainly happens in, higher level finance for sure. But for us, it's just kind of laying the foundation of some of the big concepts, things like simple interest, compound interest, annuities, amortized loans. Those sorts of things are going to really be the heart of this class. And at the heart of all of those is the concept of interest. Interest is just a huge part of pretty much everyone in this country's life as you move through it. Because if you're borrowing money, you're paying interest. 99 times out of 100, unless you're borrowing from a really good friend or a family member, you're paying interest. If you are putting money into a bank or into a mutual fund or into a stock, over time, you're going to be earning interest. So interest is a big part of finances. And if there's one thing that you get out of this class from this section, I hope there's a better understanding of how interest can work against you and how it can work for you, because it can do both. And if you pair interest with long-term goals, you can really, get your money working for you. Or, if you're, in a bad loan, you're going to see you end up paying a lot more than what you really might want to for a certain item. So understanding how interest works for you and potentially against you is the one thing I want you to really take away from here. The number one thing I want you to take away from here. If you take away other things, that's great. But interest and understanding how it works is, really what this whole chapter is going to be about in different ways. So with budgets, looking here, one of the most important aspects of money management is being aware of your spending. If you don't know how much you're spending, you're going to have a hard time making a budget. You need to know how much you got to spend for your rent, how much you got to spend for your car payment, if you got a car payment, how much you spend on utilities, gas for the car, insurance, food, everything else, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you don't know where your money is going, it's hard to make a budget to plan, accordingly. So there's many ways to track and organize your spending information. Spreadsheets such as Excel are one of the most common ways, but in this modern day and age, you go into your phone, you can certainly find an app that will organize your spending data for you. They're out there. And your bank probably already does it for you. Your debit, credit card purchases, I can go into my bank, open up a window, press a button, and I can see by category how much I've spent in each category over the course of a certain period of time. And I'll tell you what, if you do that and track your spending and then look back at what you spent in a year on certain things, it's eye-opening. Sometimes sad, because you're like, oh my gosh, I spent that much money on that. It's really eye-opening when you start following your spending. It's just like a whole new world of understanding of money comes available to you. And once you know your spending habits, once you know how much you have to, put out there to be happy and live, you can use that along with your income to plan a budget. And your ultimate goal on a budget is to not spend more than what you bring in. That's why you budget. You got to put a certain money here, and then hopefully it all balances out and you aren't borrowing just to live. So, which I've been there. I took out student loans and had to take grants and everything to go through college when I was younger. And so thankfully I've got all that paid off now. It was a very happy day when that happened. But, there was certainly a time where I was living beyond my means, so to speak. And, it was just, I had to survive and go to school. But, and I imagine there's some of you that are in that position right now as well. But ultimately, you can't really start getting ahead of the game until you understand where your money's being spent. And as soon as you start paying a little bit more attention to that and how much money you got coming in, then you can really start looking at, okay, I want to put something away for this big goal, But at any rate, one of the things that you will do as you plan a budget sometimes is look at percentages of, where this percent of my income has to go over here to, lodging. This percent of my income over here has to go to food. This percent goes to utilities. And when you start breaking down those percentages or breaking down your income in percentages, then you can kind of see that overall, how much slice of the pie each of those categories is taking up. So most budget experts recommend putting a percentage of your earnings in the savings. So a commonly used percent is 10%. I say if you could put away 10% of your earnings, it's a good number to help build a little bit of a nest egg that you can use in a rainy day, or maybe just save for something better in life later on. But how do you calculate the actual amount of savings per paycheck? If you're looking at putting away 10%, how do you figure out the true number you need to put away? Well, consider the following example here. The Flagstaff median income is approximately $60,000 per year. So if I want to put away 10% of my income, I would do 10% of 60,000. And when you're doing that, you need to convert over to a decimal from percent, and then of is multiplication. And then you can see that you would be putting away $6,000 a year. Well, overall, you're not going to probably just, find that at the end of the year unless you put it away per paycheck, put a certain amount away per paycheck. So let's assume here that we get paid monthly. My last job, I got paid once a month. Many people probably get paid bi-weekly, or like me right now, I'm getting paid on the 7th and the 22nd. So 2 times a month, no matter what. So I get 24 pay periods. If you're bi-weekly, like literally every 2 weeks, you actually get 26 pay periods. I remember when I used to work at an ice cream plant, I got paid bi-weekly, and I used to love it when I get my extra paycheck in a month. It was like happy days, but let's assume that we're getting paid monthly here. So you would just take that $6,000 a year that you're, looking to save and divide it by 12. And if you do that, then you're going to need to put away $500 per month to reach your goal. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Take the percent you want, multiply it by your total, and then divide that result by however many pay periods you're looking to use to reach that goal. So in this next one, go ahead and try this and see what you get. Okay, so if you make $43,700, you're getting paid bi-weekly. How much do you need to set aside each pay period if your goal is 10% in savings? So again, we're just going to take that 10 and multiply it by the yearly amount, and you get 4,370. And then bi-weekly, this is the one where it's truly every 2 weeks, so you would get 26 paychecks. So you take that 4,370 divided by 26, and you get $168.08, $168.08. Now, a lot of people would probably just round this to 168. Maybe you're going to be extra generous to yourself and you're going to put away 170. Very few people are probably like, oh, here's my 8 cents, and you're probably not going to do that. Most people anyway. But in this day and age too, with the online banking, you can have certain amounts taken out, put over into a savings. You can do it down to the penny. But either way you do it, you would need to put away that much to reach your goal of 10%. All right, so that's about it for 5.1. And not a lot going on in that section. And, we'll see more in 5.2.